shit, fuck, wank, arsehole, bitch, bastard, damn. And I think I'm missing one. Hey, how's it going, cunts? My name's Stacey, and this is Break Your League. Alright, here we go, episode number fucking 3. It's Thursday, nice and sunny outside, a little bit windy. It's also really fucking hot in here, which is why I've got a window open, just to get some airflow coming through. Did you notice I might have had a shave? It's because the poor missus was complaining that it was like kissing a Wookiee, which, while I was in the middle of shaving, it made me think, the fuck would she know what kissing a Wookiee is like? Could be some interesting pillow talk.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Anyway, so this episode is going to be about Sims, pedal Sims and amps. So, big debate in the guitar world as to which one is better. Personally, myself, I think they both have their strengths. Amps, I think the only weaknesses that amps really have is pissing the fucking neighbours off, and being that I have a fucking Karen living right fucking next door to me.
You are artificial and disgusting.
I kind of don't really have the option of running my amplifier to record with, so I have to use my amp simulator pedal and that. There are of course also plugins that you can get online to record with and that. So amp simulators are great for the for recording at home, as I've just stated, without pissing the neighbours off. So you won't end up with a frickin' Karen like me. You can just plug them straight to your computer and away you go. Of course they vary in quality, and I did mention in the first episode about the Quad Cortex, one of the much higher ends of the amp simulating pedals. Of course there's plenty by Line 6 as well. In fact, I think they may have even been the pioneers of the amp simulator way back in the day. So if you're having trouble deciding which one is right for you, so first thing you want to ask is, just how close are your neighbours? Can you get away with running your amp up high if you want to record? Because you don't want to be recording with your amp down low and turning the mic up. You really want to be cranking that amp right to its max and actually recording the way it's going to sound when you are playing live, so that you put your songs out there, you go to play live, it's going to sound a lot more genuine, it's going to sound a lot more like you. In that sense, simulator pedals, they have amp simulations in them. Some of them come with neural amp modulators, I believe that's what they're called, or NAM, which you can load into them, and you can take your own snippets or download your own amp sounds in that. A lot of it, you can just access it online. Well, of course you can get the plugins, and I know Bogner makes some really great plugins, so go check them out if that's what you're interested in. So I'll play a quick demo of the simulator that I run. It's the Vailton GP200. It's a great pedal, obviously because I'm a broke ass motherfucker. I couldn't get one of those flash ones, but the Vailton does a great job. I'm incredibly happy with it. The other thing that you can load up onto these simulators is of course impulse responses, or IRs for short. So they're basically just a recorded capture of an amp with the mic in front of it, and so you get IRs that have been done with your standard Celestion V30s if you want to be boring and sound like everybody else. But you can that's just an example. There's heaps out there. You just got to look for them. Easy to download, easy to load up onto your pedal. Most simulator pedals will come with their own internet program, or their own program on your PC, so that you can load and change effects and everything like that without having to fiddle around on the pedal itself. You can just do it on the big screen. Some of the smaller ones come with programs that you can load up on your phone and change all that on your phone, which is great. Back to the amps. So if you're deciding that you want to go down the road of the amps because you're going to be jamming with mates in the garage and that, and you can actually crank it up really loud and that, that again comes down to your own taste on what music it is that you want to play. And if you're right into your heavy metal, you know, the really heavy stuff, then there's so many to choose from. You got your Soldanos, your Mesa rectifiers, your PV 5150s. There's plenty of Boss Katanas and that out there. There is a lot of amps to choose from that you can get really good metal sounds out of. But don't just grab the shiniest one or grab the one that you see your guitar heroes playing. You know, look beyond the curtain, basically, beyond what's behind here, right? Because the speakers are so important. They play such a huge role in your tone and your sound, and you know, you want to make sure that you got really good speakers. I mean, because there are some real shit ones out there too. I think that the ones that are sitting behind there, if I had known what I knew now a long time ago when I got those, I would have swapped them out. Of course, back then I probably also would have just chucked in some vintage Celestion V30s. You know, just try and sound cool and be like everyone else. Now, if I had the option, I would do a lot of shopping. I would do a lot of hunting around on the internet to see which ones are really good. Don't just go for the cliche crap. Try and make your own sound. Try and, you know, unless you're in a cover band and you want to sound like whoever the bands are that you're playing, of course you want to look into what their equipment is so that you can sound as close to them as possible. But, you know, if you're doing your own thing, if you're making your own original songs and that, you need to make your own sound. You need to have your own individual sound. You know, you don't want to just end up in the same paddock as all the other sheep. You need to stand out from the crowd. You need to be that black sheep. So, you know, hunt around. Don't just go diving into the first shiny thing that you see. So I think this episode is probably going to be a quick one because it's just a lot of stuff on this. There's just so many videos out there from other guitarists and stuff that cover all this sort of area. I'm just trying to help out the ones that are just starting, trying to give you an idea of what you should be looking for and what things to avoid. You know, try to not go out and get stuff on finance because at the end of the day you're buying a very expensive piece of equipment that you could probably get cheaper stuff that sounds just as good. You know, a lot of it, as I said, when it comes to amps, a lot comes down to your speakers, and you can always tweak all the equalizations and everything like that. And you can get some pedals that have multi-effects already on board, like my Line 6 here does. I think the Katana is another one that makes them. There's probably other amp brands that are getting on board with that as well. It's having the effects there, so you don't need to have a whole big pedal board, although that might be your thing as well. You might get into that. Amp simulators and that, a lot of them have most of the effects that you need, but sometimes those effects on that aren't always great, and then, you know, you might need to buy individual pedals, say like for your reverb or your delay, or, you know, just as a couple of examples. So enough chit chat. I'll crack the guitar on and I'll just give you a quick example of how my setup sounds and see how it goes. So like I said with the amp simulators, so one thing you want to look at is the response from them. So some of them only have 4,400 kilohertz, others the high, sort of higher expensive ones, 4,800 kilohertz. Personally myself, I don't really notice a huge difference, although I haven't had a massive try on it, but I mean the recordings that I'm doing is done through the valves in there, and that's 4,400, so that's straight with the USB. Again, like I say, I don't have any problems with it. If you've heard it, if you think it sounds good, well, have a look. Look up on the Velton website, and also Artist Guitars. They sell them as well. Velton are also just starting to release a whole other bunch of pedals. There's not just the GP200, there's a whole big range of them. I believe they've just come up with the GP50, which is a double switch pedal carrying on from the GP5. So check that one out. The GP5 is also NAM loaded, and it's a cheap little pedal. I think it's only like 140 bucks. So yeah, check it out. Go check those out. That's if you're recording from home. Yeah, and amps, just shop and hunt around, and like I say, just make sure you get the right amp for the genre of music that you are playing, and always check the speakers. As far as music goes in the Bay this weekend, I haven't actually seen many gigs advertised, although my Facebook pages are pretty restricted to just sort of metal stuff. No doubt there's probably some action happening at the Cabana over in Napier. So Matt from Postnatal Abortion has just put up a thing on Facebook. So they have a gig on Crate Day down in Wellington at Valhalla. So if you're in the area, go check it out. I know I'd like to, but I'm stuck here in the Bay. And probably, with my leg right now, not really in any condition to be jumping in any moshes and that. Yeah, that could be tricky. So like I said, this is probably going to be a short show. I'm kind of running out of shit or things to fucking show or to talk about. So a few people that might actually watch this, if you got any questions or shit you want to know about and that, fire them in the comments, questions, and just ask anything. If you want me to go more in depth about the stuff I use to record with, or the gear I use, don't be afraid to ask. One thing I would really like to get my hands on is a bloody Gibson. I don't want to pay for the fucking thing, because just why would you? But if there's someone in the Bay that sees this and you got a Gibson, give us a yell. I'd really like to have a crack on one of those and maybe do a show about them. I have heard that they are getting a lot better, but I just can't really bring myself to buying one. It's just nah. It's got nothing to do with because it's from China, and there's nothing wrong with stuff coming from China. I mean, I know people throw their arms up in the air about slave labor and all that shit, but I think they're getting better at it, and they do actually make some really good, nice guitars. There is some really good quality, cheap guitars coming out of China that play perfectly fine. So yeah, if there's anyone in the Bay or even further that would be willing to let me borrow the Gibson for a week or so, that'd be great. Really appreciate that. That's probably it for now. I'm fucking pulling a blank here. It's a fucking shit show. Fucking yeah, it was fucking corny, wasn't it? Anyway, that's me. I'm out of here. Now I gotta go edit this fucking thing. So fuck you and see ya.
Methane.
Get up,